Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be staying motivated when life sucks. Well, I've got two emails that I'm going to go through with you today. Obviously, the first one, the guy is really struggling. And the second one, the guy is actually doing really well now. And so we're going to go through both those emails in a second. But before we get into it, I got a quote that I wrote I want to share with you on this topic. And it says, "We don't always have control over the circumstances of our lives or what happens to us, but we always have control over the meanings that we give to the events of our lives. Your ability to remain positive, motivated, and taking action towards your grandest goals and dreams is directly proportional to your ability to assign positive and empowering meanings to the circumstances and events of your life. One of the most helpful and useful things you can do is to direct your mind to focus on asking good quality questions so that your brain has no other choice but to come up with good, empowering answers. Ask yourself, what's good about this? How can I use this? What can I learn from this? How can this help me to become better, more balanced, and more resourceful in the future, etc.? Winners always find a way because they're never looking for a way out, just a way to get better or to get to their destination quicker." It's like I talk about a lot. Professional athletes are just trying to get a little bit better each day, each and every game. Doesn't matter if it's the best player in the world. They say the same shit pretty much every interview. I'm just trying to get a little bit better every day. And that's what you should be doing. Even if sometimes you're going to have a setback, sometimes you're going to feel like you're really doing well and moving forward, and all of a sudden it's going to feel like maybe for the next few weeks or few months you're kind of backpedaling a little bit. The key is that you don't let those kind of negative events, or what are potentially negative events, because at the end of the day, a negative event really is only a negative event because you have chosen to give that event a negative meaning. That's where the importance of asking good quality questions comes into mind, because your brain's going to give you whatever you focus on. And that's what you got to think about and catch yourself when your self-talk happens to be negative. And that's why it's also essential that you do something you really love for a living, or something that you have a passion for, or that you're curious about, or that you're really into. Because if you're not, you just simply won't put the effort and the time and the energy into becoming great at it. If you want to become great at something, you got to do something you really love. If you're just doing something for a paycheck or for money and you're not really that into it, you'll do just the bare minimum to not get fired, which is what a lot of people do in this world. So let's get in the first email. This guy says, "Hey Corey, I hope everything is going well for you. I've seen many of your videos on YouTube and I really like them because of the motivation you give to us on how to accept ourselves and how to become that confident person that some people can't identify in themselves, and it feels impossible, but it's just hard for me because I feel lost." Well, let me see if I can help you find yourself from being lost. It's really how you look at it. Just like I was saying a minute ago, the circumstances of your life only have the meanings that you give them. And so you could look at this and say, things are really hard and I feel lost. Or you could say, things are hard right now, but what's good about this? How is this going to help me become a better person, a better man, a more successful guy? And what I've learned is that your struggles tend to teach you humility, and they also help you become a stronger person. It helps you when you go through struggles and difficulties, when you finally come out the other side, and maybe months or weeks or even years or decades later, you can look back and you remember how bad and how difficult and how challenging times were. Because when you have some really difficult times versus some really great times, it gives you a great measuring stick versus if all you know is things just kind of going up and getting better. And it's like when I was in real estate and construction, from the time I was 18 until the time in 2005 when I got out of that business and decided to focus my energies on becoming a life coach, everything had always come pretty easy and effortless to me as far as career and business success went. Part of the thing that was difficult for me was that by the time I finally got out of that business, I basically had been in business for myself and self-employed for about a decade of my life at that point. And so it's pretty hard, like a few years later, because I spent 4.5 years trying to figure out my business model, but I didn't have enough money to go 4 or 5 years without working. I had enough to last me about 3.5, 4 years. And I basically got down on like my last $20,000 in assets, and I was thinking, this fucking sucks. Here I go from living in $1 million lake house and having all this success and having all these people that depend upon me, to now here I am fucking by choice sleeping on my dad's couch so I can save money and waiting tables basically Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights 3 days a week so I can earn enough extra money to keep my pay-per-click campaigns going on Google and pay my web developers and continue experimenting so I could figure out a successful business model. But what kept me going, instead of just going and getting a job, which a lot of my friends and people that knew me were like, oh, just get a job. And you're like, what are you doing? You're crazy. This is nuts. You're too old to be sleeping on your dad's couch. It's like, I don't fucking care. I love what I'm doing. I know I'm going to eventually figure it out. You're fucking nuts, dude. You've lost it. You're out of your mind. You're fucking crazy. They ain't saying that shit now. He says, the reason I'm writing you is because, man, I am living a nightmare in myself. And the reason is because I haven't found a way to become confident, secure of myself, and how to stop worrying too much. He says, why is this happening? He says, I've noticed that some of my friends were like me and now I see other girls and male friends looking for them because they got out of the hole that I'm currently in. Well, the thing you got to look at is that the reason why you're suffering is that you're not accepting the reality of what is. And the reality of what is that you're going through a really difficult and often shitty time. I know what that's like. I know what that feels like, and it's not real pleasant. It's not a whole hell of a lot of fun to go from making $500,000 a year, having a $2.5 million office building, having a $1 million house in a lake, and having another $500,000 house and multiple cars, and the ability to just hop on a plane and go wherever the fuck you want, when you want, with who you want, to basically sleeping on your dad's couch 4 or 5 years later and not wanting to spend $20 to take yourself to a movie because you're thinking, I can buy 10 clicks with that for my pay-per-click campaign. And if I save that money and don't go to a movie and I spend it on my pay-per-click campaign, I'm 10 clicks closer to figuring out the right combination on my website to make my business grow. I mean, that's the way I looked at things. And so I missed out on a lot of stuff for those few years that I was doing that. And it really sucked at times because when I hadn't figured it out, I was still faced with the fact that I was still this guy that had all this success and I had all this wealth and had all this influence, and yet here I am at 38, 39 years old sleeping on my dad's fucking couch. It sucked fucking ass. It felt like a prison. Not that I know what being in prison is like, but even though I wasn't in prison, I kind of felt like I was in a prison because I really couldn't go anywhere. My car was out of warranty and I had an expensive BMW X5. It was all paid for, but every time something fucking broke on it, it was like $1,000, $1,500, and that was a lot of money to me back then. So I really didn't want to drive my car anywhere because I was afraid it was going to break down on me. But it's like the way I thought it was like success was really just around the corner. It was my next idea, the next thing that I did. That's what was really going to take off. And what ended up happening is it was just like any business I've ever built. It's like big things have small beginnings. It's like when I was first doing YouTube videos. I mean, people were making comments, hey, you're a fucking idiot, you're a loser, you got 10 video views, why are you still making videos? Nobody's watching them. Well, obviously I'm getting thousands of video views every time I launch a video, but it took several years to build up an audience to that point where I've got this successful business that I enjoy today, and it's really starting to grow exponentially. It's a great place to be in, but it's because I paid the price and I knew what I wanted. I had an emotionally compelling vision for my life, and I was charging after it in an unstoppable manner, despite the fact that a lot of my friends and people I knew, they're enjoying their lives and they're having a lot more fun and partying and having great relationships and doing a lot of things that I didn't have that much time and money to do at that point because I just simply couldn't afford it. But I was willing to suffer and go without because I knew someday, or I believed someday, it was going to pay off. But I got down, I got pissed off, I got angry, I wanted to punch the wall at times. I wanted to scream in frustration. I oftentimes did because it drug on for years like that. I mean, to go from being really successful to spending several years not achieving the kind of success that you're used to and having your quality of life suffer, that sucks ass. I think it sucks because I know what it's like to be young and not have any money but have dreams. And I also know what it's like to succeed and have all those dreams become a reality and then lose all that and not be able to experience that again. Because you know how good life can be because you've experienced it. But if you've never really experienced that kind of level of success, it's like you really don't know what you don't know because really it's just an idea. It's just a dream at that point. But because I went through that difficult, challenging time, it made me a better person. But like I was saying earlier, is that like the reason that you're suffering is because you're focused on what was. You haven't accepted your conditions. You have to look at it and get to a place where you say, what's good about this? Well, it's obviously making me strong. There's a reason that I'm going through this difficult time. It's simply a matter of time until it may take you 5 years. It may take you 10 years. It's like you have to get to a place where you can let go of that, where you realize it's like you really don't care. Your focus is on finding a way to enjoy your life and enjoy where you are, no matter how successful and wealthy you may be, or maybe how broke as a joke you happen to be, or unsuccessful with women, or unsuccessful in your career, or unsuccessful financially, or unsuccessful with having the quality of health in the body that you want. He says, don't get me wrong, I do have friends, but it seems like I don't exist for them because nobody looks for me except my parents, and I'm a good-looking 20-year-old Hispanic guy, and I just lack confidence, and I'm a little insecure. Well, confidence comes from doing something that you know how to do and doing it really well, and repetition is the mother of skill. And so if you're learning the things I teach, I assume you probably want to become a little bit more successful with women, is that you got to practice. There's no substitution for practice. If you're not talking to strangers in the elevator or strangers in the grocery store or strangers when you're paying for your gas or talking to strangers when you're out at public or you're out eating lunch or you're out having dinner with friends, you're not practicing your social skills and you're not helping yourself get to the place where you don't fear talking to someone or opening up to somebody. He says, I'm not that successful with girls right now, and that bothers me. He says, I'm in a situation where I don't think that high of myself as a person and that I have to go for what I want because I'm always thinking that I'm going to fail. You got to accept the fact that being successful means that you become okay with failing. As an entrepreneur, that's why it took me 4.5 years to figure out my business model. I tried thousands of things that didn't work. I had thousands of ideas and I implemented them and they didn't fucking work. But you know what? Every single time that I tried something, I learned something. And it's like with Thomas Edison. He looked at the light bulb and he was like on 7,896 things that didn't work to make the light bulb work. There was a guy who was like, are you fucking nuts? He says, hey, I now know 7,892 materials that won't make the light bulb work. I'm even closer now than I was 2 years ago. And that's the way positive winners think. It's just simply a matter of time. It's not a matter of hope. It's a matter of time. But if you give up and you quit, that's ultimate failure because you're not going to go anywhere if you quit. He says, I don't even know how to value myself enough where people can notice me. Well, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. The only person you got to make happy and you got to satisfy is yourself. And if you can get up every day knowing what you want and why you want it, and you have a compelling vision for your life, you need to break down your big goals into little goals that you can accomplish today. Things that you can accomplish in today's workday. Not things that are going to take a week, but things that you can do today that you can get the satisfaction of accomplishment for having done them. He says, help me out here. I'm really hurting, man. He says, to make a long story short, in January of 2008, my brother was killed. And at the time, it was really hard to me and still is because he's more than just my big bro. I don't know if that has anything to do with my situation. Well, unfortunately, your brother's time is up. Nothing you can do for him, dude. The best thing you can do, and I'm sure he would agree, is that he would like to see his little brother doing well and succeeding because he's no longer here. And the best way to honor his memory is to be awesome. Don't you think it would make your brother happy if he knew you were happy and you were being a success and doing something you loved and appreciating the opportunity that you have that he no longer has? I think so. He says he was very successful with girls and very confident with himself, and he was only 23 at the time. Well, good. It's in your family's DNA to be successful. So if you apply the things that I teach in my book and in these videos, you will achieve the same kind of success. But you got to get to a place where you accept things the way they are, because otherwise, if you don't accept reality, you're going to suffer, dude. And it's completely unnecessary. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Literally. Dr. Wayne Dyer said that. It's so true. So let's get into the second email. This guy says, "Hey, Corey, I just wanted to say thanks, mate. I'd always been pretty weak with women, too timid to ask for what I wanted, and mainly because of fear and rejection that I wasn't good enough." Same thing the previous guy was suffering from. Didn't think he was good enough. But what did he do? He applied the things that I've been teaching. And let's see what happens. He says, "I took a girl out on a date last night. I went bowling, we grabbed some food, and then we brought it back to my place. Nice fucking job. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. Create a fun-filled romantic opportunity for sex to happen." That's what a date is. Attraction is not a choice. If she likes you and you like her, you just have to not talk her out of it. So it's pretty awesome to go out on a date and bring a girl back to your place in the first night. That tells me you did a great job of making her feel safe and comfortable because she already liked you. And you simply, not only did you not talk her out of liking you, you talked her into liking you more. She was looking for reasons to like you. He says, "We were chatting away, and after we finished eating and had a glass of wine, she said, blah, 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 it was really cool. And I said, I think you ought to bring," I know I've read this somewhere. He says, "I think you ought to just bring those beautiful lips over here and kiss me, and that would be cool." And then I smiled, and she did. He says, "It escalated from there. Thanks, dude. I would have never done that in the past." In other words, he would have never taken the risk to put himself out there. And confidence is just being fearless enough to be okay with taking a shot and failing. So what? You at least got to show up in life. Being successful is half the battle is just showing up. And this guy made an opportunity. He showed up. He asked this girl out. He made the date. Attraction wasn't a choice. She already liked him. He did everything a man is supposed to do. And what he did was give her reasons to like him even more. He says, "Thanks, dude. I would have never done that in the past. I would have held back. I would have expected her to post a neon sign saying, 'I want you,' before making a move. As a result, I got nothing and would end up frustrated as fuck being someone's gay male girlfriend or phone bitch in friend zone. Later, while we were lying in bed together, she said, 'This is great. This is beautiful. This is complimenting you because this is what happens when you act like a man and you just go for it without fear. You throw it all out there. Who fucking cares if it sticks?' He says, later, while lying in bed together, she said, 'I really love it how you made a definite date and said you'd pick me up. I really loved how you told me exactly what you wanted when you said you wanted to kiss me. It was really strong.' Women want you to be more of a man than they are." He says, "Corey, you fucking rock, dude. My life sucked without your coaching. Thanks." This guy, I actually did a phone session with him a while back, and so he's just giving me a heads up. Says he's going to book another phone session, and he's going to start doing one a month. I think that's awesome. That's what a peak performance coach does. Is my job as a peak performance coach is to teach you fundamentals of success in life, not only in your relationships, but in your finances, in taking better care of your body, in your career, in your business, starting that business you've always wanted to start, improving the quality of your friendships, improving the quality of your life and your happiness. If you kind of feel like you're stuck, or you kind of hit the glass ceiling and you want to know how to go further or get beyond that, get beyond what's holding you back, or get past your fears, or overcome your limiting beliefs, go to my website right now, click the products tab, which will be at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and select the phone, Skype, or email coaching option once you get there. And I will talk to you soon.